Alright, right now I drive to the Berkeley Public Library where I'm going to present my in-person slides, in-person presentation for the people, and I training my speech right when I'm riding. I don't need to look at the teleprompter or at my cell phone to read it because I memorize it, I keep it in my mind. It's a lot of text, it's a big script, but I did a great job and I want to share it with you guys, and you let me know if I did it great or I did it not really great. I actually a terrible memorizer. I'm terrible at memorizing things, but whatever. I need to develop that kind of skill, and so I can share with anyone else my knowledge and my expertise. All right, let's get started. Alright, so the topic of today's discussion is supermarkets. They make our life easier by keeping food fresh and safe for a long time. Plus, they have so many choices that everyone can pick whatever they like the best. This is also the reason why we save time and money in supermarkets, because when we have a lot of choices, we can compare prices and buy more at once at the same place. That is pretty much convenient. So what is a supermarket? It's a big store where people go to buy things that they need every day. It can be shampoo, it can be snacks or drinks, it can be school supplies or cleaning supplies and other stuff. Normally, supermarkets are divided by sections, and each section represents and dedicated to a certain type of product or food or item. And some sections can be for the meat only, the other sections can be for the cleaning supplies, and so on and so on. Customers would want to take a card and navigate through the sections or between sections and pick up their stuff that they like, and then they would come back to the checkout point to pay for what they picked up. That is where cashiers would help them to scan the barcodes on the items and then charge the customers to help them with their payment. Aside the cashiers, there are a lot of different people who work together in supermarkets to keep them running smoothly. It can be bakers who bake all kind of snacks in the morning, and then they would place all the snacks onto the displays for the customers and visitors. There are butchers who slice the meat in convenient pieces for customers, and they also would put all kind of stuff on the displays for the visitors and customers. There are cleaners who clean the floors, clean the shelves and other stuff in supermarkets. There are stockers who stock the shelves with items so they never get empty. There are drivers in supermarkets who bring all necessary stuff to the supermarkets on the big trucks. And there are security guards who keep the place safe. Do you know what happens if people forgetting to pay for what they picked up and trying to leave supermarket? Normally, if that would happen, staff who notice that happens, they would approach to the person and ask them and remind them to pay at the checkout point. If person don't want to collaborate or trying to leave anyway, that's where security comes handy. They usually hold the person at the spot, waiting until police arrives and make a report. With me, it happened once in California. I forgot to pay, and a staff member approached to me and she asked me in a very nice manner to come back to the checkout point where cashier would help me to pay for my stuff. And I had a mobile app from my bank, so I checked if I did pay that day or not, and I didn't. That's where I realized that I forgot to pay for my product that I picked up in the supermarket. Anyway, I did come back to the checkout point. I paid for everything, and they did leave me be. I like it. It's a very pleasant experience. I didn't felt bad, and the fact that the staff approached it to me very nicely in a kind manner is also very good thing in California. Anyway, in supermarkets there are also cameras and surveillance. They help security guards to keep an eye on the unwanted people. There are also vertical scanners that placed next to the exit, especially in the recent years in the supermarkets. If person tried to leave supermarket without scanning and paying for products, scanner would trigger an alarm so everyone knows that the person trying to leave with something in the pocket. I see this happens from time to time, even in California, but this is so rare and bizarre. People don't do this in general. What else I can say about supermarkets? I mentioned it earlier about drivers with the huge trucks that bring all kind of stuff to the supermarket. But where do they get all that kind of stuff? They get it from the warehouses, and warehouses usually specialized in gathering all kind of necessary stuff for supermarkets from the different spots. It could be farms, where farmers grow grain, vegetables, and crops and plants. They also grow animals, and animals would usually end up in butchering facilities. That's how do we get meat on the shelves in the supermarket. That's very sad, but it's part of our reality. We eat meat, right? The other stuff like snacks that cannot be baked or made on the supermarket premises inside the supermarket, they usually made on the specialized factories. For example, such brands as Twix or Snickers, chocolate bars, they are all made in a brand factories, and then get delivered to warehouses where they usually get distributed to the different supermarkets. Okay, what else? There are also such stuff as coffee beans and cacao beans. There are bananas and other fruits that getting delivered from the other countries by the big ocean ships or even airplanes. They also getting delivered to the warehouses where they get distributed to the different supermarkets. All right. What else? How supermarkets keep all food delivered from the warehouses? How do they keep it fresh for a long time? So normally supermarkets have refrigerators and freezers for the different type of stuff. For example, freezers for the meat and refrigerators for the milk and cheese. Also for the fruits and vegetables, they are usually being sprayed off with a thin layer of the cold water that allow vegetables and fruits to stay fresh and safe for a long time. What else? There are grain and macaroni that placed in in a cardboard or in a plastic piece of tight wrap that allow them to stay safe. That doesn't allow the pests and bugs and dirt or or dust to access those kind of packages, and that way they're being kept for a long time. There are also canned food, but you need some help to open it. Canned food can contain anything like fruits or meat or soup or anything else. What else? What happens with the food and other items that get spoiled? We call that kind of type of items perishables. So normally, before product and items or food get spoiled, supermarkets would donate that stuff to the food banks for the families that in need, or in case if food is already spoiled, supermarkets would donate it to the farms for the animals that don't mind to eat spoiled food, like pigs or cows or horses. If food or items are spoiled or products spoiled beyond the point where animals can eat this, then it's being donated to the farms for the compost purposes. It's biomass that being mixed with the ground in order to fertilize it, to make it more easier to crops and vegetables to grow on this ground, on the farms. What else? If products or food cannot be used even for the compost, then supermarkets, even for the compost, then supermarkets would move all that kind of stuff to the specialized recycling facilities, who would recycle it in a manner that doesn't hurt or damage surrounding us environment, right? What else supermarkets do? Another good question is how the supermarkets keep a track of the things if they're so big and they're required to keep a lot of stuff in a storage or in a warehouse. Whatever it is, supermarkets have a computer. Each time clients arrive to the checkout point with a card to scan the products, cashier help to customers to scan the barcode on the product. It's black and white lines in a white rectangle that every product have on the back or in the front. And normally, computer would track how many items left in the stock or on the shelves, and how many items sold. So no one ever in a supermarket who works in a supermarket, they does not keep in mind how much stuff they have. They need to read it in a computer because it's a lot of things, right? And that is pretty much everything. In conclusion, I want to wish everyone happy shopping and good luck. Have a nice day. Also, if you liked a video that I make, please like and subscribe, and see you in the next one.